Welcome to the Gavel from Channels TV studios in Abuja. I'm Terry Ikumi. Well, we're still in the Independence Day mood, so happy 65th Independence anniversary, everyone. Now let's take some Independence Day messages from the leadership of the National Assembly. The Senate President says the worst is over. And according to him, the country is moving in the right direction with President Bola Tinubu's reforms beginning to yield positive results. He has also appealed to Nigerians to endure the pains of the reforms for just a little while longer, and quote, in the interest of our children and future generations, end of quote. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives says he's asking Nigerians to focus on the bright future. He says Nigeria has come a long way through a checkered history, while the years ahead promise greater unity and prosperity for all. And like the Senate President, the Speaker stated that Nigeria remains on the right path with ongoing implementation of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. His statement touched on security as well, urging Nigerians to remain undaunted by the security challenge. He further assured Nigerians of the 10th House's commitment to providing accountable leadership, good governance, and dividends of democracy to the people, especially at the grassroots. Well, clearly, the leadership of the National Assembly wants Nigerians to stay hopeful. The Deputy Speaker has also hammered on this in his Independence Day message, urging Nigerians to rekindle their hope and commitment towards what he called the reaffirmed commitment to serving Nigerians and contributing to the nation's growth as a federal lawmaker, and assuring that the Parliament will continue to prioritize people-oriented legislations. Now, the Deputy Speaker also had something to say about Nigeria's federalism. Take a listen.
The best way to strengthen Nigeria's federalism is through continuous, deliberate, intentional reforms that respond to our present realities. No federation is ever static. Same for Nigeria. In the United States, it took over 2 centuries of amendments and Supreme Court's interpretations to balance state and federal powers. 2 centuries. In India, constitutional adjustments have been used to manage diversity while keeping the union strong. Nigeria's part must also be adaptive. So what we need now is to align responsibilities with capacities. States and local government must be empowered to deliver on areas closest to the people, such as primary education, policing, infrastructure, while the federal government, on their own, continues to focus on national cohesion, national defense, and macroeconomic stability. The ongoing constitutional review process provides the lawful platform for these adjustments. As Professor Ware, one of the most famous scholars on federalism, once said, the essence of federalism is the division of powers in such a way that the general and regional governments are each within their sphere, coordinate and independent. If we design our systems in line with this principle, Nigeria can harness its diversity, not as a source of tension, but to me as a foundation for resilience, as a foundation for growth. The Constitution is the architecture of our federation. And like any living document, it must evolve with the needs of its people. Constitutional review offers the platform to do this, thoughtfully, to do this inclusively, and without destabilizing the federation. Take the legislative list as an example. We have the exclusive list and we have the concurrent list. The exclusive list contains a wide range of critical national matters, such as defense, foreign affairs, currency, custom, immigration, aviation, mineral resources, and so on. While the concurrent list, which covers areas where both the federal and the state government can legislate. Matters are so many to mention. Through constitutional review, some of these powers have already been devolved, such as railways, prisons, electricity generation. They are now on the concurrent list, though previously on the exclusive list, allowing states to innovate independently. In the same spirit, I'm currently sponsoring the state police bill because security is ultimately local, and empowering states to take greater responsibility for policing is a natural next step in strengthening our federal system. This shows that incremental, well-thought-out devolution works. This will allow states to be laboratories of innovation, competing and cooperating in ways that lift the entire federation. On the issue of state police, even if it is community policing that is strengthening, what matters to me as the sponsor of that bill is to make sure that policing is local. However, constitutional change alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by political will of the people, fiscal discipline, and a new culture of accountability, especially in sub-national governments. In essence, the Constitution can open the door, but great leadership at all levels must work through it for it to work. The lesson here is that decentralization does not weaken the federation. It makes it more efficient. But it must be pursued with balance. Too much centralization risks inefficiency, but unchecked devolution, on the other hand, without capacity building at state level, local government level, it risks fragility. The real goal here is cooperative federalism. The clamor for restructuring is not a threat to national unity. It is an invitation to national awakening. It is about Nigerians taking charge of their own destiny, placing their hands on the plow, not looking back, and collectively deciding how our federation should work for us. This process is not about a few voices at the center, but about citizens across all regions, across all tribes, across all tongues, shaping the architecture of their own governance. My approach as Deputy Speaker and the Chairman, Constitutional Review Committee, is to situate restructuring within the constitutional, democratic, and inclusive process.
Now, ahead of resumption, which is just a few days away, the Office of the Sergeant-at-Arms of the National Assembly has announced a new security restriction around the Senate chamber. In a memo dated October 2, 2025, and addressed to the Chairman of the Senate Services, Brigadier General Etido Ekpo, retired, the Sergeant-at-Arms stated that access to the long corridor passing the front of the Senate President's office from the White House lobby will henceforth be limited strictly to senators and members of the House of Representatives. The directive also bars aides and personal assistants from using the corridor, with senators urged to inform their staff of the new rule. Ekpo explained that the measure was designed to reinforce safety and maintain a secure environment for legislative business. Now, speaking of resumption, when the National Assembly resumes plenary and full legislative activities on the 7th of October, it is expected that priority bills would be considered, one of which is the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. So here's a quick look at the debate of the bill just before its scheduled second reading in the House.
The ayes have it.
The Deputy Speaker presided as the House considered the Electoral Act Amendment Bill as presented by the Chairman of the Committee on Electoral Matters.
Arise to move that a bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act number 13 of 2022 and enact the Electoral Bill to regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area councils in the Federal Capital Territory election and for related matters, HB 2479, be read second time.
One lawmaker, however, raised an alarm over the exclusion of his bill.
I observed a serious problem with the Electoral Act. I came up with a bill seeking to amend specifically a section of the Electoral Act dealing with overvoting, because I was affected by that issue during the 2023 general election. I lost over 10 votes because some people, my opponents, will just come, they will target where I get most of my votes, they will just increase the number of the voters in that polling unit by just 1 or 2, and then my entire votes in that unit is cancelled. I presented a bill before this House, and it was passed as second reading. Today, the House Committee on Electoral Matters presented an amendment, a report, conveniently excluding my bill from the compendium. It was not listed here. This is a fraudulent document, and we pass it.
The Deputy Speaker intervenes and puts the matter to rest.
Repeal and enactment
of the entire Electoral Act.
Yes. Which means if we pass this bill as second reading, mine is not there. It has taken care of everything.
Second reading?
The second reading, yeah.
No, it's still coming back to consideration of report. It's still coming back after second reading.
By then it will be too late. It will not be part of the bill that was passed after second reading.
After second reading, it will go back to the committee. And at the committee, like you know, they will do technical sections and public hearings, and it will come back to the committee of the whole. And at that time, maybe public hearing, if you feel there are things that are not right, you can also inject it there before it comes back through their report for our consideration. And if your own bill is going to be listed as one of the bills that will accompany this during public hearing, I think you should just get the date for the public hearing, participate, and make sure it makes the report.
Welcome back. Another bill which would require urgent attention, even though it's a constitution amendment bill, is the Special Seats Bill, or some would say the Reserved Seats Bill. Several conversations have been held around it, and many believe it would improve women participation in politics. So here's a look at one of the recent engagements on the bill, organized by the National Assembly Committees on Women Affairs.
Women are longing to be free.
The push for gender inclusivity was taken a step further as women in Parliament took the advocacy for the Reserved Seats Bill beyond the chambers. The Reserved Seats for Women Bill aims to address gender imbalance by ensuring that a certain percentage of seats in the legislature are reserved specifically for women.
The Reserved Seats Bill for women is not just about numbers. It is about giving women a voice in decision-making processes that affect their lives and communities. By increasing women's representation, we can ensure that their perspectives, their views, needs, rights are adequately addressed in policy formulation and implementation.
You know, this isn't just about women. It's about the whole country. It's about the development of the country. It is shown everywhere that where there are more female representation, the countries are better developed economically. And we know that as the giant of Africa, we need to get ahead of everybody. I would also like to call, as my sister said, on all the governors, because we need their support in the state houses of assembly.
I pray that the women that come to represent these 6 seats by God's grace, the special seats for women by God's grace, will come and it will be a reality. but the women we choose must be a voice.
The United Nations Development Programme fully supports the bill, which it believes aligns with international commitments to gender equality, including Goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which calls for achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls.
So the reserved seats bill, in our opinion, is a transformative response to that call, a call to deal with dismantling structural barriers, disrupting the status quo. It affirms the principle that women belong at the table, not as guests, but as decision makers, not as exceptions, but as equals.
To improve women inclusion in various sectors of the country, Parliament is also in the process of passing a bill to increase the percentage of women in National Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Nigeria Police, Nigeria Army and Nigeria Air Force to at least 15% in enlistment, appointment and recruitment.
On Constituency Focus this week, we'll speak with Honorable Ceci Wingan, representing Badagry Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives.
In 2015, I came back to my constituency to see how I can contribute my own quota to the growth and development of my constituency. I started by opening up a center where we run our foundation. We started with few projects. In 2016, we renovated a whole health center. It's called Pota Health Center for the people of the community. And also after that, we looked into some few issues that we have in the constituency. So I decided to come in by fixing some few roads. There are so many communities that were cut off that people couldn't even reach. You see students working in water to access the basic education that they are entitled to. So we decided to build some few bridges just to connect communities. After that as well, we opened the center when they were struggling in the entire constituency to register for their NIN. They couldn't have access to their bank applications. They couldn't have access to whatever they have in their. We opened up a center where we were doing free NIN. And so far, between 2018 till date that we opened the center, I can tell you that we registered more than 60,000 people. And at the same time, out of those people, we had buses that were moving them from communities to the center and moving them back to their communities. My plan is to see how we can facilitate some few projects like hospitals to some few communities who don't have access to basic health. I also intend to see how we can facilitate schools to few communities that do not have. We see some kids traveling kilometers just to access basic education. I feel that is unnecessary, and that is something that I can address. So I intend to see how we can facilitate schools to these communities just to make education closer, bring education closer to our people. Aside from that, we want to empower our youth. We want to empower our women. We want to empower our old ones. The kind of empowerment that I propose is not the empowerment that we do just for political sake. We want to genuinely empower them, see how we can bring in projects that will build their capacity, how we can bring in projects that will enhance them, and see how they can enhance them and contribute back to the community and also contribute to their own daily livelihood. Like I say to the few ones that cares to listen in my constituency, the federal government is not going to employ everyone. We cannot wait for the federal government to generate employment for all. So we decided to come together and see how we can build our own capacity, how we can get our youths get them skilled that they can fetch them their own source of livelihood.
And that's all the time we have on The Gavel. Thanks for watching. I'm Terry Ikumi. Send feedback to The Gavel at channelstv.com.